Where the heck did 2024 go, eh?
Happy New Year. I hope you had a great time, whatever you were doing. I actually went to bed and slept through it, which is nothing unusual these days. Welcome to my end of year roundup. 2024. Gosh, what a crazy, wonderful year. 2023 was pretty tough, although it did have the most amazing highlight of going to Scotland for a couple of weeks, which was wonderful, but also upsetting because I didn't do as much as I wanted to because I physically couldn't. But 2024, what a year. Where do I start, eh? Well, I did more reading. I read 16 books plus one that I stopped reading halfway through, but I'll tell you about that later. I did a lot of crafting. That was 126 items that I made. More creativity, that included more writing. Actually did a bit of a calculation and I wrote close to 250,000 words. That includes my journal, essays on life that have helped me come to terms with my past and part of my self-development, and obviously my notes for what I do on here. I don't just talk off the top of my head. I do try and plan what I'm saying. Also in the creativity side, and ties in with journaling, is I'm going to share something with you now it's complete. Is I wanted to have a way of demonstrating my year pictorially. Now I know some people on Instagram do like a symbol that depicts what's gone on in their day, but that would give me stress because I'd have to think of something specific, and some days were just writing, so what was I going to do? Draw lots of pens or lots of little keyboards? And I came up with the idea of doing gemstones. There is somebody who I follow on YouTube called Gemstone, and I thought, yeah, that sounds interesting. So I had got on eBay or Amazon a pack of 18 different coloured gemstones for sewing on. And every day I would assess my mood from 1 to 5. I'd categorise the gemstones into batches of 3, 3, 6, 3 and 3. I know it sounds a bit odd, but I figured that if I was having an okay day, then I'd probably have more okay days than really, really fabulous days or really, really horrible days. So I categorised it, and every day I would pick out a stone, and at the end of the month I would sit here whilst listening to an audiobook and I would sew them on. And what I've created is a slow piece of art that I think is unique to me. I haven't seen anything else like it, but here is my gemstone board. So even on the days when I had 5, it was the fact that a rubbish day, you can still shine in it. There will always be a glimmer of positivity. When the light catches on this, it looks rather amazing. I've decorated it with little bits of diamante and stuff. And how my year has turned out is I had 5% of my days were absolutely brilliant, which is in the top one. 24% bloody great. 50% okay, which is the middling ground, which I was looking at. 17% were okay, and 4% were dreadful. Thanks to my journal, I can refer back to those days, and also I do keep these on a spreadsheet because I do love a spreadsheet. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. I'm working on ideas for this year's, but I not quite sure where I'm going with it yet, but watch this space. it's quite nice doing something that takes over the course of a year, but that was something I was happy with. Right, back to my review. I went to more beaches, although that's not strictly true. I only went to the one beach, but I went there 5 times, and that was at Aberystwyth. I had not been to Aberystwyth for so many years, but I decided to go around my birthday last year. I was cheeky and rocked up at Jules's place in mid Wales and said, hey, can I stay here for a couple of nights? It meant I got to spend my birthday not solo, and also meant that I was midway point, so I could go and enjoy Aberystwyth and then come back to Caerseus and have an enjoyable evening in company. That was almost a year ago, because it's my birthday this week. So it's been a year since my first trip back to Aberystwyth, and I did fall in love with the place. I like the fact it's really close, the train station's really close to the beach, it's easy to get on the beach, and it's unspoilt. When I lived down south, I used to go to Broadstairs and Margate for the same reasons. Yes, you've got Dreamland in Margate, but it's not my thing, so I just go and find a spot and people watch. Another place I used to go down south was Rottingdean, just outside Brighton, so on that coastline, but not as crazy as Brighton. Although I do like Brighton for the shops, and Metway Studios, which is where the Levellers record out of and are based. I am a big Levellers fan. But I loved Aberystwyth. I would love to live there, but trying to find somewhere to rent is really difficult because there's a lot of students there. But I digress. What else did I do? There's going to be a lot to say in this because I'm really quite excited about everything that happened last year. I did more sorting. Quite a few things went out the house. I've got a couple of boxes of books that are ready to go, and more has to go. Big sort out of all the things in my food cupboards that I can't eat anymore. Things with high salt content, high sugar content, and to be honest, they're out of date. A lot of them were out of date, but that felt like a big cleanse. Big project that happened was the sorting out of my yarn. I have a lot of red yarn, and when I say a lot, I don't mean a couple of 2 or 3 bags, a lot. Indie dyers that I know would refer to things as Tina Reds, and my friend Laura wrote an article in, I think it was Knitting Magazine, that was about me and my red stash. Quite scary, but I had it all brought downstairs rather than hiding away. I catalogued all of the labelled yarn that I wanted to get rid of. There was some which I'm keeping for sentimental value. One of my favourite dyers was a lady called Annie Shoring, and I actually worked with her daughter at one point before I was a knitter, and Annie sadly died, so I'm keeping her stuff. That is not leaving my stash. And stash where people have called it Tina Reds or have sent it personally to me, those are being kept. And the ones without labels, which I haven't a clue what they are. But my stash was stressing me out, so it had to be sorted. And it is all catalogued and online. There may be half a dozen balls or whatever that need to be sorted, but it took forever. And just seeing it down here was doing my head in. But that was a biggie. As a result of it, I have sold 20% of the stash that's catalogued. That equates to, are you ready for this? 29.8 miles. Shocked and shocking in equal measure. That's for me, let alone you. I do remember when I moved from London to Maidenhead, and a friend was helping me, and it was like, how many more bags of yarn have you got? And it was just like, yeah, okay, just don't judge me. I judge me now, but I'm happy that it's going, and I like the fact that it's catalogued, labelled, and if somebody contacted me today and said I want X, I know exactly which bag it is, where to get it. I don't have to plough through mountains of yarn to dig it out. Right, exercise, more walking. If I throw a figure at you, it's going to seem, you're going to think, what the heck, how did you do that? So the figure that I've got is almost 5.3 million steps, which is 2 million up on the previous year. That equates to 2,136 miles, 900 up on the previous year. Because again, it's tracked using my little thing on my wrist. But that doesn't give a measurement of exercise, because I do a lot of chair exercises which get my heart pumping. So if we go by exercising heart rate, I did just over 769 hours of exercise where my heart was in this optimizing rate, and that equates to 32 days of exercise if I was going around the clock, and that is 10.6 days up on the previous year. And I think that is a better measurement than saying how many steps or miles I did, because that is measuring my heart, measuring my unhealthy heart, and showing that it's actually doing what it needs to do. When I saw my nephew in London, just over a year ago now, we were talking about going to Italy, and I decided that I wanted to learn Italian. Last year I did 329 days of it on Duolingo, and I found that Italian was coming back to me, words that I would speak as a child. I used to speak Italian with my dad, but my dad died when I was 10, and it was something that I stopped doing, especially after my brother went back to Italy when I was 11, because I had nobody to speak Italian to. And but now I want to get back, and it's become a daily habit, as you can tell by the figures. What else? More letting go of things, not just belongings and the clutter, but my attitude towards things as well. I read a book called, and I'm not going to swear, but there is a swear word in the title, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F-U-C-K, by a guy called Mark Manson. And it made me laugh, it amused me, and had me nodding quite a lot as I listened to it. I do like audiobooks. I like being read to. I think it's a throwback to childhood, and also I find myself doing knitting or embroidery when I'm listening to an audiobook, so it's really relaxing there. More letting go of the negativity and coming to terms with my past. As I said, I've written a lot of essays last year that has left me feeling calmer, and I'm taking life more in my stride now. I feel that I have less anger inside, and I don't get frustrated with people as much as I used to. Rarely, in fact, now. Things that would once irritate me, I just go with the flow and just ignore it and just smile. More kindness to myself in that aspect as well. I think because of the heart attack, I've done a lot of evaluating of life and more healing, and as most of last year was spent alone, I've been okay with that. I think as a result of that, and also doing this channel, I have got more confidence. I am Zooming with friends a couple of times a week, so although I've been solo, I have probably engaged more with people. More vlogging on this channel. I have done 23 films and produced 5 hours of content. Oh, gosh, this time last year I was so nervous about doing these, but now I can sit in front of a camera and just talk. I know I don't have a massive reach of people, but it's okay. I really am okay with that. More saying no. I am very, very bad at saying yes to things I don't want to do and then twisting myself up inside about it because I don't want to hurt other people. But actually the person I'm hurting is myself. So I've been honest with a couple of people over the past year. I don't think it's gone down very well, but for me it has helped. So definitely more not giving an FUCK. Right then, so that's all the more things, all the yay stuff. Now, still yays, but in a different way. Less spending. I haven't had the money, simple as. I haven't had any paid income, which I have got to address. Less eating. I think my food patterns have definitely changed post heart attack, and I look at food in a completely different way. I eat less meat, very little red meat, pardon me, less alcohol, less clothes buying. I bought 3 dresses last year and 2 or 3 pairs of leggings. Of the dresses, 2 are sparkly sequin dresses which I bought in a sale in Aberystwyth, and 1 is a dress I bought in Shrewsbury and I really don't like it and I really should sell it. Less selfies. I don't take many pictures of myself anymore. I guess because I have a camera in front of me a couple of times a month when I'm talking to you. I also have less news. I don't often put the radio on anymore, so I'm not listening to the news on the hour. I don't watch the TV so much in the bedroom. I used to put it on before work to get the weather report, traffic and stuff, but with not working I don't. I put YouTube on at night with my headphones on to help me sleep, and that's what I'm using the TV for. The reason why I gave up news, it's not I don't know what's going on in the news, I do. I look online, but after the election and certain areas of UK politics, and I'm not going to be political on here in any way, shape or form, I found I was getting upset by it, and that was not helping my well-being, so cutting out the news has helped. I used to wake up on a Sunday morning and put the politics on, and then I'd be wound up on a Sunday, so that's a cut-off now. And also the fact that I do sit in this chair, not just when I'm recording, but it's a relaxing space, apart from when it's freezing cold, because it is freezing cold right now. I've got a heater under my desk and a foot heater with my toes in, because it is cold. So I don't have the TV on much. I do watch TV, but I tend to binge watch things on streaming services, so I do enjoy TV, but not the news. I don't listen to debate shows on the radio anymore, and that, again, my well-being priority. Another thing I've done is less overthinking. I am terrible at having conversations in my head that haven't happened and probably never will happen, so I don't overthink scenarios. I think because I'm a project manager in my day-to-day life, I'm constantly thinking ahead, and I've stopped doing that. Again, it's going with the flow and just embracing life. Less taxis. Last year I took 7 taxis over the course of the whole year. I noted it because it was important, because I used to take taxis everywhere. And the 7 that I took were either when I was running late, or it was late coming back from Aberystwyth or other places. As a result, I've taken more buses. Again, keeping little notes in my diary. I took 300 buses last year, which is pretty good. And there would have been more, but I've started to walk into town because I can. I couldn't previous year because my back was hurting and the weight that I was carrying. So that's progress. That's measurable progress for me. Less swearing. I mentioned that there was a book that I stopped reading halfway through, and that is in the to get rid of pile. It's a book by Miriam Margolyes. Now, I've always found her really amusing on chat shows and stuff with her little potty mouth, but listening to her, where a lot of her books seem to be swear words, I realised I didn't really like it, and I thought, is this how I am? So I do swear still, but less so, and that makes me happy. What else? Less compromise. It's okay to say no to people. So going back to that other book, less giving an FUCK. I never go anywhere unless I'm invited, and I found myself almost begging for people's time. If people don't want me around, it's okay. I'm okay with that. So I don't beg anymore. Hoping that I don't seem as desperate as maybe I was. Okay, so I'm seeing less of people I truly care about, but there are other ways to contact, so it's not quite the same as it was, but it's alright. Now, other things. No salt. I've not added any salt in any food, even chips on the beach. See, I have had chips on the beach, but no salt. You can get by without salt now. There's been no takeaways, no red meat, no processed food. The focus really has been on self-care and declutter, not just of possessions, but internal declutter as well. On the negative, there's been no cash, and that is something I've got to address in the new year, otherwise that's going to create a load more problems and worry, which I can do without. Lows of the year, there were 2 stays in hospital for a total of 5 nights, 2 x-rays, one for a sprained ankle and one for a broken little toe, which I didn't realise was broken. I seem to be really good at doing things with my health and not realising, I didn't know I had a heart attack. Pushed it to one side, stubbed my toe, broke my toe, didn't realise. Another low, I made a wonderful sweater, crocheted a wonderful sweater. Got some fabulous edging from this shop in Aberystwyth. This is something that makes me laugh. There is a fantastic haberdashery in Aberystwyth called, wait for it, I love the name, Haberdashery. I call this that for a name. I bought this trim to put it on the sweater, wore the sweater, wore it back to Aberystwyth, showed them, loved it. Then went out down my local with my friend Nikki, who lives a few doors down, and we were chatting so much, and there was a nice roaring fire in the pub. Took it off, left it, and somebody took it. You know, if something doesn't belong to somebody, they shouldn't really take it, but somebody did, and that really upset me because a lot of hours had gone into making it, and although I put it all on social media to try and get it back, it's been over 2 months now and I haven't had it returned, and that upsets me. Another low is less time with people I truly care about, and then an ongoing rash that was caused by post-heart attack stress, which I'm still under the hospital for, but I'm gonna talk about that because it's really painful. Highlights of the year. Now we talked about lows, highlights, because there's been some really big highlights. One, walking around Cumidwell, which is up in Snowdonia. I wish I'd got my camera with me that day and recorded it, but I wasn't really into my recording at that point of out and about, and I really wish I had, because I was shocked that I could do it and really loved it. I went up with Jules, and he carried my bag, and he was, as he described himself, he was my dog. He was racing ahead of me, and, you know, come on, catch me up, and I was like, wait, but it was great, and it was good doing it with him because he'd seen how I hadn't been able to walk the previous year, and so that was a massive highlight. Another biggie was going to Anglesey for solstice, because it was third time lucky. First time I was a grumpy old bear and wouldn't walk that far on a hot day. Second time in hospital. So going there third time, walking it easy, and spending a couple of days in Anglesey was absolutely brilliant. Then there was a charity walk up that I did, which I filmed. So that's when the camera came in. I started using the camera out and about. That charity walk, complete with broken toe, was, I still can't believe I did it. Was great with my local neighbour Fran, and that was great. Falling in love with Aberystwyth and being on the coast, another big highlight. Another one, which was actually the day it went to Snowdonia, which was I went and protested over a tree. It seems a bit odd, you might be saying, but I live in Shrewsbury, which was the home of Charles Darwin. Now this tree, it's not far from the Mount, which is where Darwin was raised, and it has significance because of obviously what he was known for, and it is thought that it's a tree that Darwin probably played around when he was a child. They are planning on building a relief road north in that area, and the tree would be a casualty of that. So I went and protested in the mud over a tree. Another big highlight was my discharge from cardiology. Getting the all clear from the hospital was like, yay! So it was good. And left me crying because I was so pleased by that. And then my hard work had resulted in such a thing. Doing the podcast with Jim, I did a little episode about it, led me to being more open and actually seeking help. I'd had a bad incident with selling some spindles where somebody questioned my integrity, and instead of sitting on my own and crying, I had a bit of a vent about it online, and that's when I started going on Zoom calls with knitters. These were something that were going on which I didn't know about, and that's been really good for my well-being and health. Another highlight has been this channel. getting regular content out, and I ended the year with 34 subscribers, which makes me happy because 34 people get to see me talk absolute rubbish to the camera. Well, it's not really rubbish, it's important to me, but might not be to you lot. So that is my end of year roundup. Pretty good year, don't you? I think you'll agree. Lots of positive habits have been formed that I'm going to continue with. Now I'm starting to think about obviously carrying on those habits, but also thinking about what my hopes are for 2025. But I've got a few days to ponder on that because I never ever do a list before my birthday. It's like resolutions. My birthday's on the 10th, and I feel that if I did resolutions to say I'm going to give up this and that, then I'm setting myself up for failure, because I'd be doing it, you know, if I say I'm not going to drink, yeah, I'll have a drink on my birthday. So rather than doing that, I always do resolutions after my birthday. So those will happen. So there'll be a little thought about what my hopes and dreams are for next year. The massive takeaway from the year, and from this, if you want to call it that, is that I'm okay. I really am okay. There's lots to do still, but I quite like this quote which I heard recently from Jim Carrey. If you're not willing to downgrade your lifestyle for a year to have the lifestyle you want forever, you care too much about what others think of you. Well, I did downgrade my life, and I don't care what people think now. So yeah, that has covered it. Okay, so I might not have worked, but I achieved a lot, and yet I feel like I barely got started on this thing called life. To use a quote which I quite like from a friend's film that he did a few years ago: we blink and then another year's gone by. 2024 really did go in the blink of an eye. I hope you enjoyed that. It would be brilliant to know what you got up to last year. Please comment below if you want to tell me. Thanks. If you like what I'm doing, then it would be great if you could like, comment, subscribe and share with anyone you think may find this interesting. Also, if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications when I upload my next video.